All right, in the last video, we loaded sound from a file and we played it. In this video, we are going to capture sounds from the environment, in this case via the webcam, or microphone, I should say, connected to the webcam. And then we'll use the properties of what it is we capture to do something to the canvas. This is going to be a really simple sketch, but hopefully it will unlock for you the possibilities for things that are a lot more creative and fun. This, let's see. All right, we'll start over here on the reference page. I just want to show you, to orient you where we are. We are in the reference for the P5 sound library. And whereas last time around we used the sound file element, we're going to this time do the audio in capture. Okay, so you can see the ball, the bouncing ball. This sketch here makes that happen. You can see it's just a few lines of code. Our code's not going to be much more sophisticated than this, but I do want to direct your attention to things that you can do with this method, including start and stop the capture. You can say, okay, now I want to open my mic for listening, or I want to now close the mic so that I don't hear anymore. I want to get the level, the amplitude, the volume between. I'm sorry, you can set the amplitude of your mic input so you can adjust the sensitivity. You can explore, let's see, the sources available to you. So if you had several different input devices, you could choose from them, that sort of thing. So there's a lot at your disposal here on the input side as well. One thing that I should mention, this is important, just like we talked about in video last week, if you are capturing stuff from the outside world in a web browser, you need to be doing that through a secure connection, aka HTTPS, right? So if your project, your final involves that, you're probably going to want to invest the money in purchasing an SSL certificate for your server so that you can make that happen. And what will happen the first time that someone visits your site, they're going to get a dialog box that pops up that says, hey, edhebert.org wants to take control of your microphone. Do you want this to happen, yes or no? And if you say yes, then it will allow the page to interact with either the audio or the video in the case of capturing webcam video. But it ain't going to happen unless you A, allow it to, and B, especially in the case of Chrome. I think if I'm not mistaken that Firefox at least was a little bit less restrictive in terms of allowing you to capture from a non-secure server, but Chrome's been pretty persnickety about it lately. So anyway, all right, let's dig into this code and tease it apart. All right, week 13.2 code. We're loading. Just because I know that some folks have had some difficulty with why doesn't my sound stuff work or my video stuff. We're loading p5.sound. That's important. You need to be loading that library in order to do sound stuff. All right. This time around, we are going to use a canvas. First thing I should say is that I'm declaring a variable that's just going to contain my microphone audio feed. It's a variable that's going to hold that sound object, that audio input object, right? And as I said, we do have a canvas this time around. We're going to be drawing some stuff to the canvas, so I just set the canvas to the width and the height of our browser window. You can see something here sort of interesting. If you look at this, from our discussion of constructor functions and objects that p5.audioin is a constructor function, right? We can see it's when we say mic gets assigned the value of a new p5 audio in object. It's constructing a new audio object that comes along with all those methods we just talked about. So that's a constructor function. You should recognize that. And the first thing that I'm going to do when I start my program and setup is I'm going to open up the microphone. So I'm going to start listening. So mic.start, again, from the reference page. Really simple here. This is a simple sketch, but this is the kind of thing that P5 does so elegantly well. This would be, I don't know how hard it'd be to do if we didn't have P5 at our disposal. It would probably be many lines and lots of head scratching, but this is almost comically easy. I'm going to, just make a black background. I'm going to declare a value here within my draw function. Every time through my draw loop, I'm going to grab the mic level, and I'm going to assign it to the mic level, my variable called mic level. So I'm going to say mic.getLevel, which is going to get the current level of the microphone amplitude from 0 being sound is off, I don't hear anything, to 1 being, as loud as it gets. And I'm going to partner that, to drawing a circle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle in the middle of the page, middle of the canvas, I should say, and I'm going to take that mic level from 0 to 1, and I'm going to multiply that by 1,000. So if the mic level were 0.5, I would draw a circle that's 500 pixels in diameter. Simple as that. So I will save this up. We'll go over to our local server in our week 13 directory in 13.2. And hi, how are you? How's it going? There. So now you can see that I have partnered that circle's ellipse to the input that we're getting from the environment. So kind of cool. I clap my hands and get some really big circles. You can, circle is what it is, but let's say if we wanted to make it look a little bit more like a mouth. So what I'll do is I'll just take the width of the canvas and divide it by 2, and then I'll make that my x-axis. So I'll kind of make an ellipse that goes from flat to a little bit more open. I think that ought to make it look like a mouth, maybe. Close. Hello, hi, how are you? How's everything? So there you go. So there's a little cartoon mouth. Obviously, we could put some eyes there. You guys could certainly make it a little bit more attractive than this, but it's big fun, right? So there's all kinds of things that we could do. We could listen for certain amplitude at a certain level or threshold. We could have balloons appear or something. I don't know, whatever. So this is short and sweet, but hopefully a little bit eye-opening in that this is the kind of stuff that we can do very simply with P5, and yet it's very creative. I will leave it to you for the remainder of the week, if you're not, eyeballs deep in your final code, to try and create a couple of sketches on your own. Take your own files, your own MP3s or whatever, and mess around with them, glitch them, maybe add some delay to them or some reverb or some sonic effects, or reverse them like I was doing. In your input, maybe you can have I don't know, surprise me. I'm not going to tell you how to be creative. You guys are obviously very good at it yourselves. So just have fun with it. This is week 13, and like I said, next week is going to be sort of the big hug, warm hug goodbye, and I will talk to you a little bit about some of the cool things that I know that are out there and where we can go from here. So have a great week.